Second of all, homestead is one of the most important programs, property tax relief programs in the state. The last legislature, we indexed homestead so that when people got to 24,000, each year it would be indexed a little bit so that they wouldn't begin to lose their property tax relief. He is eliminating the property tax relief for homestead, which means that many seniors and other low-income citizens will be paying $8 million more in taxes. Third, the Earned Income Tax Credit is a program that's been in place for years to assure that low-income earners are given significant tax breaks. Wisconsin has always had a supplement. He's eliminating that supplement, which means that next year, low-income earning taxpayers will pay $41.3 million higher taxes than they paid this last year as a result of the change of that policy. Contrast that with the fact that this budget includes a new loophole for multi-state corporations that enables these corporations to get $46 million in tax breaks, some of whom will pay no taxes, no state taxes at all. Many states use combined reporting as a means not to gouge corporations, but to assure that multi-state corporations don't use Las Vegas tricks to move their assets around and deny the state that they're in the opportunity to recover some of the dollars. Microsoft did not pay any state income taxes in Wisconsin in 2005, nor did Coca-Cola. Pepsi-Cola did, Coca-Cola did not. Merck Pharmaceutical paid no taxes. And the list is rather large of these companies that found a way to manipulate the tax code to avoid paying their state taxes. He's enabling them to do so again. There's a provision in this budget that gives a 100% capital gains break. 100%. If you invest in a Wisconsin business. I have some money in the stock. My wife and I have a little money in the stock market. It's starting to come back a little bit. Why should we get a tax break because we happen to have some extra capital and can invest it in something that makes us money, versus many of you who are paying 100% taxes on perhaps what is the same amount of money? It's simply unfair during this period of time when so many other burdens are being felt. And finally, what this budget does on mass transit, which isn't a big issue here in Washburn County, but up in Superior and Ashland and Bayfield, where the Bayfield area rapid transit system is the only means for transportation for many disabled and senior citizens to get from Bayfield or Washburn down to Ashland, to the doctor, to the hospital, or to work for that matter, or to grocery shop. That program is going to be significantly altered and cut. Plus the governor's moving the money out of the transportation fund, which is where it ought to be, transportation. It's moving it out of there, putting it in the state fund and letting it compete with school aids and shared revenue. At the same time that he's cutting local road aids by $70 million and increasing the amount of money built on major roads in southeastern Wisconsin. And so there isn't shared sacrifice when you look at who's benefiting from this budget and who's paying, who's burdened, who's blessed. And we wanted to talk about some of these things and respond to some of the questions today that you may have. We can go to any topic, whether it be education or higher education or other issues, but we started this on long-term care and senior care because of the real sensitivity on the issue. I will say that there is going to be 4 public hearings, some statewide hearings on the budget. Usually there are 6. And the co-chairs of the committee both only want 4. They're holding one in Milwaukee at State Fair Park. They're holding one in Stevens Point. They're holding one in Arcadia. And they're holding one in Minot. And I'm glad for northern Wisconsin that it's here, but I think you obviously know that when you take a couple thousand people and want them to come to that small community, it's going to put a real burden. That hearing is going to be on Friday, April 8th, from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
At what location?
Northwood School.
It's going to be at the Northwood School. I don't know where people are going to park. I don't know how they're going to get there. All I know is that we will be there, and we'll keep the hearing going longer, and we will continue these kinds of sessions as long as we can to give people a chance to be informed and to provide their input on this budget. Nick?
Well, thank you, Bob. Bob did a wonderful job really going over a lot of the concerns that are in the budget, and we want to take some time to listen to you, but I just wanted to reiterate some of the things that are in the budget. One of the most egregious things is the cut to education. Our children's education is really what our future is all about here in Wisconsin, and it's our base of economic opportunity for our kids and ourselves in the future. But we're looking at over $1 billion cut to schools. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of school districts to have to deal with those cuts. Bob went over the cuts to the Medicaid program, including cuts to Badger Care, which is a very important program for a lot of rural communities, especially up here in northern Wisconsin. A lot of people rely on Badger Care, which has been a great program that has served a lot of people across the entire state, and has served as a model for other states to try to have healthcare reform where you can provide adequate healthcare benefits to people at a reasonable price. So I'm concerned about those cuts. And then we have the senior care program that so many seniors rely on to help them afford affordable prescription drugs. We're looking at cuts there. That's also troubling. There's some things in the budget that I think were put there kind of as a red herring to get people excited, and then they're going to pull them out and say, oh, we're going to repair that. One of those things is the recycling grants. I think a lot of people have heard that they're cutting out the recycling grants and they're not going to mandate that local communities have to recycle. Well, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because if you end up putting all that recyclable material into landfills, it ends up actually costing you more over the course of the long run. My feeling is this is a pretty small program. They just put it in there so that they can take it out later and say, you see, we listened to the people and we changed it. We really need to keep our eye on the big picture, and that's massive cuts to programs like Medicaid and massive cuts to local units of government, massive cuts to education. And budgets are about choices. And the reason why we're making massive cuts, I think everybody in Wisconsin agrees that we have to make cuts. When you have a budget deficit, you have to make cuts. When Democrats were in control of the three branches of government last budget, we made cuts across the board. A lot of them were not that popular. But what we didn't do, we didn't balance the budget on the back of seniors. We didn't balance the budget on the backs of our children. And we didn't balance the budget on the backs of our workers. And that's exactly what this budget does. This budget creates tax loopholes for millionaires and corporations and balances the budget by taking that money out of the pockets of our children's education, out of our seniors' homestead property tax credits, out of senior care, out of other programs under the Medicaid program, and it balances by the drastic cuts that are going to be made to our workforces, public workforces, take-home pay, by taking away their collective bargaining rights and then requiring them to provide anywhere from 10 to 20% of their take-home pay to help balance the state budget.